Hey everyone, I'm Tartarus from Majestic Floofs, and I am going to be showing you how to use our AFK Arena currency income calculator and our dimensional exchange calculator. So, the first thing you're going to realize when you open this up is that you do not have permission to edit anything on this calculator because it is inadvisable to let thousands of people try editing a calculator at once, all with their own personal information. So what you're going to do is going to go to File, Make a Copy. You are not going to download this. This is the no-no. File, Make a Copy. You need to have a copy in your own Google Drive. So File, Make a Copy. I am making myself a copy. And now this is my personal copy that I can freely edit. So the way this currency income calculator works is it takes a period of time that you give it, and it calculates how many labyrinth tokens, challenger coins, and guild coins you will earn over that period of time. It knows how many lab runs you'll have over that period of time and how many of them will have a bonus. It knows how many times you'll fight Riz and Soren, etc. So right now, you should not need to touch the starting and ending date for the calculator. The end date right now is set to the end of the dimensional exchange in UTC. And the starting date is using the now function, meaning whenever you open this document, it is going to have the current time. If you reopen it 2 days later, it will update again to the current time. I created this document 2 minutes ago, and this was the time 2 minutes ago. Now, you may want to change the end date at some point in the future. You may even want to change it now. Like, let's say you want to use when the exchange starts to figure out what you'll be able to afford at the start of the exchange versus at the end of the exchange. So we also have this number here, and you could just copy that over here. Maybe you're using this in the future for some other event or to figure out how many lab or guild store purchases you can make in a month safely. And you can just put in the end date. Now, the sheet right now is using UTC. So you can either, if you don't live in UTC, you can either convert the end date to UTC, or if you are terrible at time zones, you can simply select your time zone. However, you're only going to select your time zone if you are putting a new date in here and you are using the local time to do it. This is a UTC time, so don't just like mess around with the time zone unless you actually need to change these numbers. The one other thing to keep in mind is that if you are changing the end date and you are doing it in a different time zone, this dropdown does not affect the now function. The now function is built into Google Sheets. So if you want to change the time zone of that, you've got to go to File, Settings, and change your time zone. And then you choose a new time zone and you choose Save Settings. It's just File, Settings, super simple. But again, you only have to do that if you're changing the end date and if you're going to put in a date that is not in UTC. So for most of you, you won't need to change this. And if you do want to change this to the start of the exchange instead of the end, you can just copy the number that we put here. So now I'm going to just hide this toolbar to give us a little more room on the video. Once you've got your date set, you just start putting in information about your personal account. Do you have a monthly subscription? If yes, you'll get some bonuses on things like guild coins and lab tokens. What is your VIP level? It doesn't need to be exact, but at 13, you'll get a 50% lab token bonus. And at 14, you'll get an 100% lab token bonus. And if this is a brand new account and you do not even have VIP 6, you will only be hitting Riz and Soren twice. So most people will probably be in the 6 to 12 range, but you just pick whichever one is true for you. Most players will have your Field of Stars bonuses completely maxed out. You max them out pretty early in game. However, if yours are not maxed out, you're going to go to the field of stars and you're going to pull up the specific constellation that we mentioned. So this one is the Chalice one. If it's maxed out, great. You're just going to put down the 45%. If yours is not maxed out, you're going to need to hit details and you're going to need to count the individual stars within the constellation. So Dallo gives 15% drops to lab tokens, and so does the Golden Promise. So if you only have 2 of those and you say don't have the Star of Valiance, you would set this to like 30%. But for most people, this is going to be 45%. Your Legends Challenger income, you just go to Legends Challenger and it tells you at the top of the screen how much you make an hour. Mine is $3.99. Now this is a little bit more complicated. For the Hunting Fields contract, you are going to need to check out the total guild damage that your guild has done in the current Hunting Fields contract, the current boss. So I've opened up Hunting Fields contract. I'm going to the leaderboard. And then once the leaderboard is opened, I'm switching to guild ranking. And this is the number I'm going to put in. So it's 24161,585, 24161,585, and then it's 670,812. Now, what this is doing is it is calculating how much damage my guild is doing an hour to the Hunting Fields boss. Ideally, you are doing this and you're putting this number in, within a few hours before reset. You want as many people in your guild to have hit as possible, without, if you do it just after reset and your guild is like a super on time guild, you may have a bunch of people hitting in a span of like 5 to 10 minutes. That isn't going to like be held up by the rest of the day. So ideally put this number in a few hours before reset, within a few hours of reset. Once you put it in, it's going to calculate how much damage you're doing per hour, and therefore when your guild should unlock the 10th chest, which my guild has, right? So it says my guild unlocked this 2.56 days in, and that certainly seems true. We've definitely already unlocked it. When you get this number, you're going to copy it, and then you're going to paste it here. No, you're going to type it over here. You're not going to paste it. Pasting is bad because that's an equation. Once you have done that, just for the sake of your own confusion, I suggest deleting this number. The reason for that is this is based off of the current time and how many days you are into the current boss's cycle. So if I come back and I reload this page tomorrow, remember what we talked about, how the now function works. Now isn't going to be the 15th, now is going to be the 16th, which means there aren't going to be 3 days left on this boss. There are going to be 2 days left on this boss. But I'm not going to update this damage number. Like, I'm not going back here and updating this on a daily basis. I don't need to. Which means it's going to think that it took my guild an entire extra day to do this damage, and so this number is going to go up. And the day after, it's going to go up again. And the day after, it's going to go up again. And then the day after that, it is going to be a new boss, and it's going to be like, wow, you got all 10 chests in 5 minutes. Congratulations. So this number is going to get inaccurate as time goes on. And if you leave it here, and so like the next day, this is something in the 3s, then the 4s, then the 5s, then less than 1, and it's a different number from this, you may get confused and think you screwed something up, and you may copy the number over again, and this number will no longer be correct. So just once you've typed this number in over here, delete it just to save yourself the future confusion. Then I get max Riz chests, I get max Soren chests, I again have all my Field of Star bonuses. I don't think there are 70 people in Majestic Floofs with 700 AP, but there's probably like 67, 66. I could count the exact number. I'm not too pressed about it. So now I've filled in all my information. That was pretty fast, and it's giving me numbers. Now, these numbers are a range. You'll notice for all of these, there are ranges. The reason for that is the third boss on each floor of the labyrinth gives you either labyrinth tokens or challenger coins or guild coins. You have 1/3 odds to roll one of those three currencies. Now, on average, you'll roll each of these currencies, about 33.3% of the time. But it's RNG, and you could just be constantly dropping only lab tokens from the final boss, or at least during these days that matter. Or maybe you're just dropping challenger coins. So this is telling you, even if you do not get a single lab token drop from the third boss, and it's all challenger coins and guild coins, you will at least make 107,000 lab tokens. Now, on the other hand, if you get insanely lucky and every single one of those bosses is dropping lab tokens, you'll get 160,000 lab tokens. The average number is the number most likely to be correct, but if you're really worried about having enough of a currency, the minimum is the only thing that is guaranteed. So your challenger coin income over time from the Legends Challenger, it's going to be pretty stable, but again, from Labyrinth, we don't really know. For your guild coin income, this number reflects how much you get from team hunting, and that is both the 28 chests you get every time you fight. I'm going to have 14 Riz fights and 10 Sorens, and also you get a little mail in the game after your guild has finished fighting a boss, and it's like, hey, here are some extra coins. That is included in this calculation as well. Don't listen to the mail. The mail lies to you. The mail says that those extra coins are based on the top damage from the top player in your guild. That is a lie. It is literally just 50% of your top damage. You get half as many chests as whatever you earned, and that number rounds down. So this form will calculate that correctly. Do not trust the guild mail. It is lying to you. Like, it's giving you the right number of coins. It just, the message is complete nonsense. And then it's also calculated how many coins I'll get from Hunting Field's contract. So as we've discussed, 2.56 days to get the 10th chest, which means I've already gotten the 10th chest for this boss. So there are no more rewards on this. There is one boss that I'm going to have a full cycle of all 7 days. And then there's going to be another boss where the end date is in the middle of that boss's cycle. So that boss is Fortune Firecracker, and this end date is on day 3 of Fortune Firecracker. So like if we change this to the 30th, now we have 4 days to fight Fortune Firecracker before it ends. But like, don't change that. And so it's telling me I'm going to get all 10 chests from the full cycle. And because the days to open chest is less than 3 days, I'm going to get all 10 chests from that partial cycle. And that's going to add up to 61,000 guild coins. So we got that. And then again, we have the possible drops from Labyrinth, which it's RNG. We don't know. So then once this is done, if there is actually an exchange, and that's what you're using this calculator for, we head on over to page 2. And we're going to start on page 2 by putting in the currencies I have. So I have like 85,000 hero coins and 165,000 guild coins. Now, I actually have a problem with challenger coins. They're going to max out in a second, and I'm going to have to spend something. We'll address that in a second. I have almost no lab tokens. Okay, so with challenger coins, I won't be able to continue to claim coins once I hit the 500,000 cap. If you're not sure about any of the currency caps, Just scrolling over here, we have the currency limits, including the limit for the currency choice chests that you get in the dim exchanges. We even have the numbers of what kinds of currency compensation and rewards mails stay in your mailbox for different amounts of time. Now, I'm definitely going to have to spend challenger coins, and the only thing I buy in the challenger store is red chests. And that's going to cost me 165,000. So I'm just going to take that away because I know, wait, hang on, I did that wrong. So this was 499. No, wait, I did that right. No, so this part, that's what I did wrong. There we go. All right, cool. I can do math, totally. If you're like me and you cannot do math, I highly suggest you pop open your game and either make the purchase or use an actual calculator to figure out what you'll have once you make that purchase. But I'm just showing you how to screw this up so you can also do it like me. Once you've put in your incomes, you're going to come down here and figure out how you're going to do these exchanges, right? You've got some flexibility. You could do like 50 pieces of lab coins and 10 of hero coins and not spend any guild or challenger coins. For me personally, labyrinth tokens are my most valuable resource. So I'm going to put the max of everything else and try and spend as few lab tokens as possible. So it's telling me the max for these is 10, 10, 15. 10 hero coins, 10 guild coins, 15 challenger coins, and it's telling me I need 25 pieces left. So those 25 pieces are going to have to be lab tokens. I'm going to go over here to Terrible Tornado, and I'm going to do this again. So I've got my exchanges figured out, and it's telling me how much this is going to cost me. And then we go back up here to my bank. It compares the resources I actually have to the cost of the event. And it's telling me how much I have left over and whether or not I have enough. So for example, if I was concerned about being able to buy a dimensional strength helm in the store, this would tell me I can afford to do it and I'll still make the exchange in time. It's also telling me I don't have enough challenger coins and I don't have enough labyrinth tokens. However, we still have more currency to look at. We have these choice chests. I have 8 in my bag right now, and we haven't claimed any of this last week of prizes. So that's 22 chests in the last week, plus 8 in my bag. So I have 30 of these chests that I can use however I want. And as we've discussed, lab tokens are my most important resource. So I want to dedicate them all to lab tokens. And by all, I mean all but 10, because 10 is the max amount I can keep in my bag, and I want to do that for a rainy day just in case, I don't know, there is some sort of currency emergency that I need to be prepared for. So now it's added this to my current currency. So I've got currency that's open, I've got currency in chests, and I'm much less in the red on lab tokens. Before we go to what we're going to earn and how that's going to offset it, let's really quickly talk about hero coins. Because you do not get hero coins from any of the things we've discussed. The only place you get hero coins is the Rickety cart. So in the Rickety cart, you can retire heroes. Automatically, your common heroes get retired, unless for some reason you turn that off and you're doing it manually. But for 99.99999% of people, your common heroes are going to be retired automatically. Whenever you go to the Noble Tavern and you do a draw, like here, well, that was not a common. Let's try that again. There, that was a common hero. And now it's telling me auto retirement resources. It automatically retired my little Dreef, and it gave me 160 hero coins. But if you have at least 60 ascended heroes, not counting dimensionals, you can also manually retire these legendary tier heroes. Right? And retire, and it'll give you resources. So the first thing is, do you have the 60 ascended heroes? If you don't, flip this switch. It will gray out everything you can't get resources from. You can't retire anything in your bag. You can't, any rare or elite summons you get, you can't retire. You're only going to be able to get the auto retire from the common summons. Right? So if you're someone who doesn't have 60 ascended heroes and you are short on hero coins, the only way you can make it up is by doing additional summonings. So let's say I got 65 common scrolls and 94 faction scrolls. Now notice these common scrolls and faction scrolls are about the specific summons. 65 scrolls is 65 summons. 94 scrolls is 94 summons. Friendship points, though, it's 10 points per summons. So if I have 984 points, that's only getting me 97 summons. 98 summons? I can't do math. 98 summons. For diamond summons, you are not going to put in the amount of diamonds you have or want to spend. It's not like friendship points. It's going to function like faction scrolls or common scrolls. You're going to put in the amount of diamond summons you want to do. And it doesn't matter if you're doing hero choice summons or just regular summons. But let's say I want to do 5 hero choice 10 pulls. That would be 50 summons. And so if you can only retire common heroes, this is pretty simple. Whatever common heroes you get from summoning are the hero coins you can get. However, if you can retire ascended tier, legendary tier heroes, then you'll also be able to retire your rare summons and some of your elite summons, and you'll also be able to retire heroes you already have. So if we go back to the Rickety cart, I had 2 L plus Gorgui. I had no legendaries. I think I had like 28 of these. These numbers might not be entirely accurate, but that doesn't really matter for now. And so now it's telling me my guaranteed hero coins have shot up because I'm recycling a ton of stuff. Now, you don't have to recycle everything, and you shouldn't necessarily. For example, my 2 legendary pluses are Gorguis, and he's a Draconis hero. A lot of people need Draconis fodder and can't afford to do that. So maybe we don't recycle those. Now, the one complicated part here is when you do elite summons, you will get a mix of elite copies of legendary tier heroes, right? Like an elite Angelo. And you'll also get elite copies of ascended tier heroes, like an elite Lucius. Ascended tier heroes cannot be retired directly. Like we have this E+ Fox. We cannot retire him in the Rickety cart. What we can do is feed him to Angelo and make a legendary Angelo. And now we can go to the Rickety cart. We can find that legendary Angelo and we can retire him. So now we've gotten hero coins from retiring that Fox, but we had to hide him inside an Angelo. This means elite summons get tricky because let's say the heroes that drop for me when I do my pulls are a copy of Angelo, a copy of Lucius, a copy of Rigby. Perfect. I've got a Lucius and I've got a Rigby. Those are 2 E+ I can hide. The copy of Angelo I can recycle directly. But what if instead I get a copy of Rosalind and a copy of Thane, and I don't have copies for them? So those Rosalind and Thane are just going to be stuck here in the Temple of Ascension. I can't make them E+. I can't feed them to anyone. So the hero coins you would theoretically get from elite summons are not considered guaranteed. They are considered expected because you only need to have 50% of the ascended tier heroes match the copies you already have in order to hit this number, right? If I get a copy of Lucius and a copy of Rosalind, I've gotten 2 elite heroes. I can't retire the Rosalind, but when the Lucius pairs with the other Lucius, I'm still retiring 2 heroes. So you can, in fact, even get more than this number. But again, it isn't guaranteed, it's just expected. So anyway, back up here. And I'm solid on hero coins. I am solid on guild tokens. And Challenger and Labyrinth are a bit of an issue here. However, I am going to earn, I'm right back to the currency calculator. Like, we figured out how much I'm going to earn before the end of the exchange, and it's enough to cover this, right? I will earn a minimum of 107,000 lab tokens, which means I won't be 54,000 in the red. I'll be fine. I'll earn a minimum of 125 Challenger coins, so I'm not going to be in the red. I'll be fine. Now, I might not be fine by the start of the exchange, so let's go test that. Let's change this from 29 to 22. That is not a 2. That is a 2. And now, I'm definitely okay on lab coins. I'm only probably okay on Challenger coins. It's going to depend on what I roll in Labyrinth. So I couldn't do both the day of. However, I can easily do one the day of. And we can, play around with this date and see the exact time. So yeah, by the 22nd, I'm guaranteed to be able to do both exchanges with this current number setup. So yeah, let me just set this back to 29th. So yeah, that's how this works. You probably won't need all of this. Most fleet players aren't gonna have a problem with hero coins. You're only gonna need unclaimed mail if you're really trying to min-max these exchanges. And the choice chests obviously make this a lot easier and give you a lot more flexibility. But there you have it. This is our currency calculator and our dimensional exchange calculator. And I hope you find it super helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Reddit or comment in the YouTube comment section here, or talk to us on our Discord. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.